Okay, today we're going to be taking a look at dimensional analysis. So, dimensional analysis is kind of a fancy way of saying that we are going to convert units. So, if we were to try to answer this question, how many dozen eggs is 456 eggs? Okay, you guys probably know how to answer that question, but if I asked you to show your work on it, you might not really know what to write down. Okay, so that's what dimensional analysis does, is it teaches us how we write down the answer and show our work for a problem like this. Now, eventually we will get into using dimensional analysis for chemistry. Today, we're just going to focus on using dimensional analysis for any sort of conversion of units that we already are familiar with. So, how will we solve this problem? We'd use unit conversions. We know that 1 dozen is equal to 12 eggs. Okay, so a dozen is equal to 12 eggs. So if we have 456 eggs, we can set up this T-chart. Okay, it kind of looks like a big plus sign. Notice that my starting number goes in the first section. I'm going to put the part of my equality that has the same units as my starting number. Okay, so see, I have 456 eggs. I put 12 eggs. I'm going to put that on the bottom here. Okay, now I'm going to put what that equals on the top. Now, if we think of this like a fraction, in math, if we have something on the top and something on the bottom, those units cancel out. Okay, so I've canceled out my eggs units, and once I do this math, I'm going to be left with a dozen. Now, the vertical line here means that I'm going to multiply. The horizontal line means I'm going to divide. So I'm going to take 256 times 1, divide it by 12, and that equals 38. So 456 eggs equals 38 dozen eggs. Now, I can use this for any sort of conversion. Here's a table that shows lots of different conversions that we could use. So any of these things will work. These are equalities, which means essentially what we're doing is we're setting these equalities as a fraction, where the top of our fraction equals the bottom of our fraction. That means that we're ending up multiplying by a fancy form of 1, which if you think back to algebra, doesn't change our value at all. It just changes the units that we're using. So we're going to use this table on the next couple of problems. So make sure you keep it handy. It should be right there in your notes. Our next problem says how many centimeters are 2.45 miles? Now, we don't have a conversion directly from miles to centimeters. So we need to use multiple conversions. We set it up the same. Okay, first we're going to identify what we know. We know that 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. Okay, that's given to us right on our conversion chart. We know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. That's also given on the conversion chart, but I also hope you know that in your head. We know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. Now, that one you probably didn't know, but again, it's given to you on your chart. So now we have gone from things we know, connecting the dots all the way to what we want to know. Okay, what we want to know is centimeters, and what we're starting in is miles. So to set this up, I'm going to make my T-chart again. Notice that I have a really long tail on this T-chart. We'll fill in that area in a little bit. I've got 2.45 miles. Now I'm going to take my equality up here that has miles in it. Remember, miles needs to go on the bottom so that those cancel out. And I'm going to put the other part, the 5,280 feet, on the top. Okay, so once I do this math, I'm not going to do it yet, but once I do that math, I'd be left in feet because my miles canceled out. Feet is not what I want to be in, so I need to do another equality. Okay, 12 inches in 1 foot. 1 foot is on the bottom because it needs to be opposite where it started in order to cancel. Now I'm in inches. Okay, that is not what I want to be in though. So I need to do one last equality, inches to centimeters. Now those inches cancel, so I'm left in centimeters. Now I will do my math. Okay, we want to wait till the end to do our math because we don't want to pause and rewrite everything down after each step. We want to just do it all in one swoop. So again, our vertical lines mean to multiply. Our horizontal line means to divide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply across the top. I'm going to multiply across the bottom, and then I'm going to divide at the end. Now, if you notice here, my bottom is going to be 1 times 1 times 1, which equals 1. And any number divided by 1 is just going to be that number. So I can simply do 2.45 times 5,280 times 12 times 2.54, and that's going to give me 394,289.28 centimeters. Okay, that is how many centimeters are in 2.45 miles. Now, did you think of another way we could do this? Sometimes there are multiple ways to do the same conversion. Okay, so this one we could have done the same problem using converting miles to kilometers, and then kilometers to meters, and then meters to centimeters. Now, sometimes these change our answer. So let's look at this. If we put 2.45 miles on the top, that means my mile has to go on the bottom and my 1.609 kilometers goes on top. Now my miles cancel out. I'm in kilometers, need to keep going. My kilometer is going to go on the bottom, meters on the top. My kilometers cancel out, but now I'm left with meters, so I need to keep going. I put meters on the bottom, centimeters on top. My meters cancel out, and because I'm left with the unit that I want to be in, now I can do my math. I do 2.45 times 1.609 times 1,000 times 100, and I get 394,205 centimeters. Now, the conversion paths can change, but the final answer, because conversions aren't a direct measurement. That means that we measured this amount, but the path we took to convert it is going to be a little different. Okay, now if we did something called significant figures, we would end up with the same answer. We're not going to worry about those for now. Just know that different conversion paths can get you different answers. So if you take a different path than your neighbor, you might get a different answer, and that's okay. You're going to make sure you do any of the problems that are listed there in the notes, and then move on to your choice activities. Make sure you ask your teacher for any questions you have.